Good afternoon, Orange City. You know, with me is a very powerful panel because got emerging millionaires, got top residential project sales winners. So definitely, I believe you are in for a good time because we will share. I'll squeeze them to share all their trade secrets. But before we go on to that, can I invite you all to self-introduce yourself? Don't take too long because we are already overrunning. All right. Start from Michael. Michael, come.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank management for inviting me here on stage. Thank you so much. And I've been amongst these amazing people and amongst yourselves as well. So thank you for your time. I've been in the business just over 21 years. April this year makes 21 years I've been in this amazing company, Orange Tea. It's just been an amazing journey. And my sector of business is sales and leasing, buying and renting. So I wear 4 hats and I manage properties for clients. And I tried to do new launches as well. So far I've not succeeded, but never give up. So thank you very much.
That line is for Ramesh, okay. Moving on, Jim.
Hi, I'm Jim Leong. I've been in this industry since 2015. This probably makes me my 10th year in the industry. I concentrate in resale and sales for private residential property and HDB. On the offsite, I also do commercial and retail leasing and sales. So my forte is, I'm a jack of all trades. So yeah, hopefully I can share something with you guys later. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Moving on to your brother, another Jim.
Yes, I'm Jim Tay. So my brother Jim Leong. We also share the same start year. I also started in 2015. Yeah, so about 10 years in the line or so. So people might say I look young, but when I say I'm in 10 years, they're like, wow, quite amazed to see that, wow, I'm doing pretty well even though I look pretty young and my experience in the line. I don't know whether it's a compliment, but so I do primarily project sales, as you have seen. I probably about 70 to 80% new project sales, new launches. So I hope they'll be able to share more about that later. Yeah.
Thank you, Jim. And the rose among the thorns.
Hello, everyone. I'm Charlene. Very youngest in terms of experience over here. Started in 2018, so about 7 years now. Do buy, sell, HDBs, yeah, project sales as well, resale condos. Yes.
All right. Thank you, all of you, for taking time to be with us and to share your secrets. So if not enough secrets, we won't let them go back. First question, I'd like to start off with Jim Leong. What unique trends do you notice in Singapore real estate market for the past year? And because of these trends, how do you adjust your strategies to take advantage of these trends?
I think one of the most in-your-face trend nowadays, and we always talk about it, is our $1 million flats. Since end of 2024, there's like 328 new HDB resale crossing the $1 million line. So with that, I think it's something probably will become more and more common. So my strategy for this is, firstly, I have to shout out to Lester for his Instant Pro, where he's actually provided the HDB MOP listing and the FSBO that is efficient for us to target that particular prime location and for our ad mails or Facebook targeting and whatnot. So that's one thing. Second thing I would actually observe in the market, for those who have been doing resale for private residences, you have noticed there's a correction in terms of the renter. Yeah, there's a downward pressure on rent. Interestingly, how do I say this? I have some corporate tenants that actually did not renew their lease because they are moving themselves out of Singapore, sitting higher costs and whatnot. But for the past few days, I've been hearing some chatter from my people in the corporate HR side. They are saying that actually they are rethinking into moving back to Singapore because some of the countries that they are at, predominantly up in Malaysia side, they found that if there are certain inefficiencies in terms of the administrations. So I actually thought about actually moving back to Singapore, but probably not soon. The other thing that for this particular part, I think Instant Pro gives us a very good data for us to talk to our clients, and that I think overall it's a healthy reset of the rent. So serving tenants would be a way to go. That's actually how I started. So most of the time I actually serve landlords per se, but with this change in circumstances, I've pivoted to serving tenants. I think the last thing I can probably see is that a higher interest in mixed development projects. I think, like, be it the collective at One Sophia, One Marina Gardens, Park Town, and of course Reserve Residence, some of these projects that we actually do. I think there's renewed interest in this kind of mixed projects because there is a public perception that there is a premium to these projects, and which is true. But you have seen healthy take-ups on these kind of projects. So you can really see the shift in public perceptions. So for this, I would thank the management of Orange Tea for clinching these projects, enabling us to have a more rounded range of products, and also letting us be on the ground to feel the move. So these are the three things I have observed so far. I think overall, change is the constant. So instead of fighting the change, instead of just adapting, we should try to capitalize on it. So that's my take. Thank you.
So if I can summarize, your take is that you see a trend of $1 million HDB so that there's more people who can upgrade, and probably you can recommend them mixed-use development, and from there, you also do your rentals deals as well. Sounds like you are very advocate of Instant Pro. So Lester, you need another trainer. I found a trainer for you. Moving on, I'd like to move to your brother, Jim. What role does government policies such as cooling measures or land supply initiatives play in shaping yourself, your own investment strategies if you have? Or in other words, how do you advise customers with all these trends that you notice in the market, the government policies and the land supply initiatives?
Right. So as someone who does a lot of new launches, we are quite in tune with what is going on in the market. Whatever is, as Raymond has shared, cooling measures, land supply. But I think to answer this question, I want to zoom back out a little to really look at what has not changed, right? Because we are talking about overcoming challenges in a changing market. I think if we look at, in the context of Singapore, something that has not changed is the government and how they run housing policy in Singapore. Elections is coming, so I'm not sure if this will remain. But what our government has done so far in Singapore, I think is very commendable. And I always make sure I set out the framework and context to my clients, because I think once that is done, buying the property is the easier step, right? So in Singapore, our government has established what is one of the most fluid housing systems in Singapore, where pretty much every stakeholder is able to participate in the market in a very open and transparent manner. For your developers, you have your GLS, they can participate in en bloc. For HDB, you have your upgraders, your mass market, aspirational class to reach the landed property, and your right sizes as well to go back into your condominium markets or your HDB markets. Even for older condominiums, you have, like I mentioned earlier, en bloc for the owners of the condos, and for HDB as well, you have lease buyback scheme. So the government has set up opportunities for every single player in the market to participate actively. So it becomes a very active market, very vibrant and active market, and the government steps in from time to time with cooling measures or easing measures as necessary, right? But we have seen over the long run, due to various reasons, right, our housing prices have always been stable, in line with government policy, stability in government, economic growth. Prices have always been on the uptrend. Once I'm able to establish this with my clients, recommending property is really very easy, because people in Singapore are property hungry. 90% home ownership rate, right? And most of us, research has shown that most of us spend a lot of time on Property Guru, right? So as a consultant, once they know that there's no fear in buying Singapore property, and the earlier you get in, the better, because TDSR, your loan is always working against you, right? It's just about finding what fits them best, right? So if they want something that's very iconic, don't have to be afraid of any price depreciation. Canning Hill peers, for example, if their income bracket is less than 16,000, they want to go for something with the highest capital appreciation, EC, Lumina Grand, or if they want to buy one of the lowest PSF loft units in Singapore that's still in the market, Botany at Dairy Farm, right? With an early TOP of this year, Q4 2025. There's a unit for them as well. I'm the IC for all these 3 projects. Thank you.
So you slip in some advertisement time. If I hear you correctly, your point is that you keep a pipeline of buyers. And can you tell us, typically you take how long to brew one buyer? Shortest to longest time? Shortest to convert, how many months? Longest to convert, how many months?
I think it goes back also to what was shared earlier on social media, because I myself also has a social media presence. So I have clients who have contacted me years ago, and I mean, sometimes I don't really follow up with them, but they follow up with me. And it can take 2 to 3 years until they reach their housing MOP, and then I follow up with them. And we do the transaction. So that can be 3 to 4 years, even. On the other hand, I also have clients that, okay, because I close so many new launches, I have become sort of an expert on new launches. So like I said, once they understand the fundamentals of the market, it's really about choosing what to buy. So they'll come to me for advice on what to buy, and I just have to let them know what to buy. It can be done in a week, a couple of weeks, yeah.
By the way, I also noticed that Jim is one of the hardworking agents that make use of our podcast room the most. So if you are not aware, we have a podcast room on the 7th floor, fully functional and equipped to help you. If you don't know how to use, look for Jim, okay? Maybe you can do a site training. Moving on, let's ask our Charlene. Can you share a specific case where you successfully turn around a very challenging situation? And what are the key factors that contributed to this closing, this success?
Okay, I'm sure as agents we face a lot of challenges, and I don't profess to be the one to be able to overcome all these challenges on my own. I definitely had a lot of help. So one of the key difficulties for buying new launch is definitely buying a product that you're not able to view, to see the facilities, to see the structure. So one of my clients actually brought a boutique development in Holland Village, and therein he gave me a challenge of asking me when the ventilation shaft would be turned on. I think that is a very technical question that I myself couldn't answer. So had sought some advice from like architects or even BCA guidelines. And I even went down to the site to speak to site supervisor and construction workers to ask them how it would be operated. I mean, definitely for new launch buyers, they do have to go in with a leap of faith because not everything can be seen. So I guess what helped was me addressing my clients' concerns and supporting them every step of the way, and not giving them a blanket answer where it came from a developer or it came from a technical answer. I think supporting them and being on their side helped me address those concerns with them.
So it was almost a TOP project. And
almost completed.
You went there to speak to the construction worker.
Yeah, I said, uncle, the ventilation shaft, I asked them how it worked.
So you managed to go inside?
I stood outside and I almost wanted to go in already. Yeah, and they were
Got
like,
buy kopi for them or not?
Go in, Xiaomei.
Got buy kopi for the workers or not?
Never.
See, I'm squeezing out all the secrets for you guys. Okay, let's move on to the most experienced among us. Our Michael. Michael, can you share with us, how do you build and maintain strong relationship with your customers, and what do you believe the most important factor, one factor, because I know you can quote us 10 to 20 or even 100 in maintaining them as your customers all these years?
Do you want the long version or the short version?
We don't have time.
No, time is ticking. All right. In a nutshell, basically, what customers look for in a real estate agent is a good human being. Just a person that understands their wants and needs, listens to them, and able to deliver. I'm a great believer that we should cultivate a long-term business relationship with our clients. Clients have in their phone mechanics, dentists, doctors, instructors. So why shouldn't they have your phone in their number in their phone? they should have a dial or agent. Boom, Michael Ciola. One of my logos is, and I've been marketing for many years, think property, think Michael Ciola. So I have this thinking all the time. So, and what else I look for in an agent? Somebody that's transparent, somebody that's honest, and just a great person that is able to deliver and give value. People want value. I'm a great person. I love to give value, and I like to receive value as well. So giving value, able to deliver is very important. And a lot of times, I find that a lot of agents don't listen to their clients. They just show anything and anyhow. This is a waste of time. People are busy. We're dealing with people that have important jobs, and for them, time is money. So if you have them for an hour or 2 hours and you go out viewing, make sure that you are productive. You need to ensure that every listing you show them, it's pretty much what they're looking for. And I'm a great believer in being prepared. You've got to be prepared. So I have been practicing the 5 Ps. And what are the 5 Ps? Prior planning prevents poor performance. You've got to have this in your mindset all the time. So if you have this quality in you and you're able to deliver and prepare yourself, not to waste time.
Thank you. I think in a nutshell, what you're saying is that relationship is above deals. Relationship is above closing deals, and sometimes being transparent, telling the truth is more important than closing the deal.
Yes. And don't think about the commission. Think about the professional service fee. Keep that last. And there's a saying, if your customer wins, you can't lose. And there's actually a book on that. So go out there and get it and read it. Because what you're doing, you're creating a win-win situation. Thank you.
Customer win, you won't lose.
If your customer win,
you don't lose.
You don't lose.
All right, very good saying. Moving on, let's ask Jim Leong. Singapore real estate market is always seen as very resilient during economic crisis. What are the key factors? Maybe you can just give us 3, because we're shortage of time and we are left with 2 minutes.
I think the most obvious one is the regulatory guidelines from our government in terms of the loan to valuation, TDSR, MSR, and of course, our love-hate ABSD. Of course, we understand why they implemented this, to prevent over-leveraging and overheating the demand. So that's definitely one thing that they are. Then, administrative side, there is the GLS, the government land sales. It coordinates supply of land to the demand that they have anticipated. Hence, we are not oversupplied with properties, which is why during the COVID, the number of GLS has been correspondingly reduced according to the situation. The other point would be the URA. By having a very elaborate master plan every 10 years, it helps to rejuvenate HDB. It also helps to rejuvenate the city center so that our property values remains the same with good maintenance and upkeep. So that's one sector, one point per se. A second
We
point
don't have time already.
no time already, okay. Then the last point would be our backbone. 90% ownership in Singapore, of which 80% are people owning a HDB flats. HDB resale price remains the backbone in which our private residential prices so-called accelerate or decelerate accordingly. With HDB resale and how the government actually controls it, hence our property prices don't run out too far.
So in a nutshell, controlled supply but ever strong demand. That's why that
supply and demand
is the backbone of the whole markets in a way,
yes.
The environment that we are in. So last question I have, can I throw it to Jim? Jim Tay, what advice do you have for newcomers, young professionals that come into our market today? What skills, what knowledge do they need to have to be successful in today's market?
I think with social media today, for a lot of new agents that join, it's very easy to see the glitz and glamour of this industry. But the reality is that when they come in, they will realize that friends whom they think might engage them as their agent might not necessarily do so. And it can be a grind for them to find their first clients, especially if they don't have the relevant contacts. Right? So I feel, especially in today's competitive market with like 35,000, 36,000 agents, if I'm not wrong, it's very important for new agents to find an identity. They need to know who they are and what they stand for. Right? If you don't do anything special or you don't make your personality loud and shown, you are just like any other agent that is out there. They won't know you, they won't be able to relate to you. So I think that's very, very important for any new agent to have, right? Furthermore, I think, again, as a self-employed, for new agents, it's very easy to get dragged into doing everything because they can, right? Doing industrial, doing commercial, doing leasing, doing new sales, do every single thing, right? My view is that do every single thing, okay? But do one at a time. And when you do any one at a time, focus on that and do your best. Only then you'll be able to excel and succeed and survive long in this industry, which I strongly believe is a marathon and a long-term game. Yeah.
So in other words, branding and positioning and hone it well and deep. Anything to add, Charlene? Do you have anything to add? Since
Charlene
you are also
is
young
quite
and
a
successful.
typical Orange Tea agent who relies heavily on referrals. So definitely for me, it's tech tools. Yeah, tech tools helps me a lot in terms of my business. Yeah.
All right. So there you are, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have enjoyed our sharing and we have helped you to overcome challenges in the market ahead. Hope that rest of the year, all of you make more deals together. Let's what? Thank you.